Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino.
And sometimes Jared.
Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and wolf.report. Wolf.report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation.
All right, today we're here with Lefty Jared, and we're talking about his video about the wolf management plan. Thanks for joining us, Jared.
Yeah, I didn't know you were left-handed, dude.
I didn't either.
Right.
Yeah.
I think all the guns that you've bought have been right-handed guns, right?
I thought so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you shooting right, and it's right-handed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're
I'm
here
so
to talk
confused.
about the video that we put out. Well,
Yeah.
MDHA and you, whoever,
Yeah.
put out on Friday.
That's right.
Talking about the misinformation or disinformation, whichever it is, that was coming out about the wolf management plan. So what is it? Is it misinformation they're putting out or disinformation?
That's a really good question. So if we're going to define misinformation versus disinformation, we kind of need to know the intent behind the people that are putting the video out.
Okay.
And I don't want to presume.
I think it's safe that we can presume what they're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, is it ignorance or is it maliciousness? Right.
I think
That's
a little
the question here.
actually quite a bit of both. Honestly.
Yeah,
in my
it could
personal
be.
opinion.
I would definitely say ignorance leaning towards maliciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's probably fair.
Or is it maliciousness leaning towards ignorance?
You know, ignorance is a big word. So
So
I would,
malicious.
yeah, but I would definitely go more towards, ignorance.
Ignorant.
Yeah.
Ignorant, definitely malicious, ignorant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it's definitely misinformation, right?
Right.
Which is information that is incorrect, that they are I mean, they speak with so much confidence,
They
right?
sure do.
And they're so wrong a lot of the time. Now, if they are doing that intentionally to persuade the public, then it becomes disinformation.
Right.
Right. They're definitely spreading this information to persuade the public one way or another.
Right.
And I don't know if they're doing that intentionally or not.
Wow. In my opinion, I think they're doing it intentionally because they don't like you.
Well, that's been made very clear. They do not like me. And I don't know why.
They don't even know you.
They don't, because what's funny is they blame me for everything since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun, man.
Yeah. It's real interesting.
I mean, the biggest thing that I got from it, or one of the biggest things, is what I find funny is they blame you for this wolf management plan that we've talked about how many countless times, and you kind of set them straight with you weren't here.
I was
Again.
not. Right.
I don't know how many times you have to say it that you weren't here.
A lot, apparently.
Yeah.
No, this Minnesota's wolf management plan was adopted in 2022. I didn't start until January of 23. So I unfortunately had nothing to do with the development of that plan.
Right. And now that makes me wonder, okay, do they just maybe not know that timeline? But
Well,
at the same time, they can't really truthfully believe that you created the wolf plan.
you wouldn't think, right? And the guy that put out that article and was on the interview thing that they put out,
Right.
Dale,
Right.
he was a member and actually a chapter officer at the time that the wolf plan was adopted, at
Right.
the time that I was hired. So you would think he would have been in the loop on that timeline, but
True story.
but
True
I don't know. I mean, maybe he was asleep at the wheel.
Or ignorant.
Well, and we had a gentleman that commented that had stated that you weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually your predecessor that was involved
Correct.
with that, with the plan and whatnot.
Yeah. So MDHA for sure was involved. They were on the committee to develop this wolf plan. It wasn't me. It was Craig, who I've briefly met twice now, but I don't think I've ever had a real conversation with him.
Me either, honestly.
I've heard a lot about him, and I would love to meet him for real someday. But yeah, I had nothing to do with the development of that plan, but MDHA was there representing deer hunters specifically and the hunting community at large. And yeah, I think that's a good thing. It's
right. It would have probably been way worse if MDHA hadn't been there. I'm assuming.
Right. And I've said it a million times. The plan is not perfect,
right?
But it's a good thing that we have it, and it could be a lot worse if we were not represented there. If the Cattlemen's Association wasn't represented there,
right. And this gentleman also had stated that he was there as part of the committee, and it would have gone very different had these representations not been there.
Right.
But it also was different from the final draft, which obviously we all know things can change behind closed doors.
Yeah,
we all know that.
That was news to me because I again was not there. But apparently, what was published, the final wolf plan that was adopted, was very different than the final draft that the committee had seen.
Yeah.
According to this individual who was on the committee.
Right.
But yeah, I can't verify that. So at this point, we'll call it hearsay. But
yep.
So what was the major point you wanted to make in that video? What was the most important point, I should say?
Oh, the most important point is that it's a good thing that we have the wolf plan with all of its imperfections. It is a necessary step to returning wolf management control back to the state of Minnesota.
Right, because once it's delisted federally, which I think everybody believes it will be within a year.
Correct.
Without that plan, we could not have a wolf hunting season, correct?
It would take longer. It would take longer. Right. So the fact that we have this wolf plan in place means that if the gray wolf were to be delisted tomorrow, we could feasibly have a wolf hunting trapping season within 90 days.
Yeah. For next fall, we could definitely have one if it happened today.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely a good thing that we have that plan. The other point I was really trying to make was that this plan is by no means prohibiting a wolf season, right?
Right.
We're hearing it all the time from a certain group of people that this is not a wolf hunting plan. It's a wolf protection plan, right?
Which I think it's both, honestly. But I think that's just the nature of the beast.
That is a management plan, right?
Right.
It's how do you manage a species?
And I've read the wolf plan. Actually, I have it right beside me here. I read it once. And my takeaway was the very things you said. There's some stuff in the beginning about managing, protecting wolves. But then it gets down to the brass tacks that, yes, this is how we're going to do a wolf hunt, and this is how many wolves percentage-wise we can take. And that was my takeaway, the first one read-through.
Yeah.
I mean, glance through. I figured that one out.
Right. Well, and to be fair, a lot of the plan is based around the current status of the gray wolf.
Right.
Which is that it's federally protected.
And it currently still is, yes.
Yep. So how do we manage this species when we cannot do any sort of public harvest of that species, right? So that's a lot of the language within the plan is how do we do this without being able to have a hunt? But there are provisions very, very clearly outlined within the plan for when they are delisted. This is how we can approach it. This is how we will approach it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that we have this group that has gained quite a bit of traction and attention that is ignoring that, or they're more than ignoring it, right? They are spreading information that is counter to that fact.
Right. And which I don't understand is because without this plan, like you said, a wolf hunt could possibly still happen, but it would be delayed. And it's the exact thing they're saying is this wolf plan is going to do.
Right.
So I don't understand that logic.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they're bashing MDHA, bashing the wolf plan, bashing the bill that was actually introduced to create a wolf season. why are they bashing on that? Wouldn't they want all their supporters to support this, to contact their congressmen, their representatives to say, hey, you need to back this bill, no matter what part of the state they're at?
You would think so.
But yet all they're doing is they're bash.
Right.
And saying, we'll never have a wolf season. But yet, aren't they the ones talking that weren't they going to get us a wolf season last year?
Right. With the same bills?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that would be the case.
You would think.
Unfortunately, they have not interpreted the Wolf Plan in the way that it was designed to be interpreted.
Words are hard. I get it.
Words can be very hard. And also, the one thing that has any potential to hold back this Wolf Plan and a wolf season, anything out there that is able to prevent that from happening upon delisting would be that the current state statute in the state of Minnesota is that there may be a wolf hunt.
Right.
We need to change that word may to must, right? Mm-hmm. So this current legislation that's been introduced this year, was introduced last year, was introduced the year before.
Right.
That MDHA has backed all of them. It would make that necessary change, right? It would require a wolf hunt upon delisting.
Right.
What this management plan is doing is not preventing that wolf hunt from happening. It is setting quotas for that wolf hunt.
Right.
It's a harvest ratio, basically. If we have this level of wolf population, we can expect this level of harvest. So why would an organization that was 100%, so they claim, created to get a wolf season, why would they want to stop that?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like, okay, so if their main beef is maybe they don't think the harvest rates are high enough. Okay. So let's get a hunt first.
Yep.
See what we get out of it. And then go to the DNR and say, we need higher harvest numbers.
Yeah.
We need the rates to be higher. Just like the last time, they shut the season down within a week. Mm-hmm. So, okay, well, then let's get higher numbers. Let's work towards that. But first and foremost, let's get a season and back everybody who's trying to get a season involved.
Right.
Instead of just bash everybody.
Well, I think you got to take the emotions out of it. That's, I think, where they struggle. They go into it with an emotion, with, whatever that emotion is, and they just throw, critical thinking out the door.
Yeah.
And the personal attacks are just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, they're fun. So to stay on the same topic, let's say Steve, right? If he were to get a call tomorrow from DNR commissioner that said, hey, we're going to have a wolf season. We're going to do 10 tags and that's it. You can harvest 10 wolves. How do you feel about it? Do you think they would say no? Do you think they would say yes? Because I don't know. But to me personally, I think that any progress we can make towards a harvest of the gray wolf is progress, right?
Right.
So 10 is better than 0.
Right.
I think they would say no.
They probably would say no, it's not enough. And I'm going to say, yeah, it's a start. Right. And we're going to keep this phone open and we're going to talk because 10 is nowhere near enough, but it's a start. Mm-hmm. Right. So
now they're going to say Jared only wants to kill 10 wolves.
Right? You mean you would actually talk? You mean you'd actually talk to somebody and have a intelligent, civil conversation?
Here's the thing. When I pick up the phone and I call Sarah Stroman, she answers.
Right.
I don't think they can say that.
Right.
No.
Well, they burned those bridges. They don't know any better.
They burned them years ago.
Right.
They weren't even an organization years ago when they burned those bridges.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how the adults get it done, kids. We actually have to talk, and we're going to disagree big time, but
right. But no, if she called me and said, we're going to have a season, 10 wolves, that's it, I would say, do it. But we're going to talk about it.
Right.
That is not enough.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this conversation going, and we're going to get it up to 20% is where I would like,
you could
like
say,
to see it.
You could say, okay, well, I'm on the phone with you. I'm going to text a few guys. We'll have 10 wolves within an hour. So you need to keep adding 10 to it.
We'll have 10 wolves within 10 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Let me make a few phone calls quick.
Yeah.
Right. And what I like is when they say this isn't enough because, you know, Jared wants 3,000 wolves or whatever they're saying now. But I'm pretty sure this whole group swears there's at least 10 to 15, maybe 20,000 wolves in this state.
Yeah.
So if we're at 3,000, it sounds like from what I've been hearing a lot of, we're going to kill an awful lot of wolves.
That's right.
So you need to make up your mind. Is there 3,000 or is there 10, 15,000?
Well, and honestly, I don't know the answer. I can only go by the official population estimate, which is 2,900. Right. I think and let's be fair, that estimate is calculated during the lowest population throughout the year. Right. It's the dead of winter. It's after all of the winter kill of wolves and before the spring when pups are born.
And that's only done in a certain area too, right?
It's within the established wolf range.
Right. And we know they're expanding. So we all understand that number is low.
Yeah.
I think
it's
that's
very
no
low,
argument. Yeah.
But it's the only number we have to go
It's the only number that we can really talk about.
Yeah. And I get a lot of hate for using that number.
Right.
And I get it. You know, I'm frustrated too. We all know that number is low, but find me a different number to use that isn't just you making something up.
Right.
You know?
Well, and the other thing is that number really doesn't matter because it's over what the ESA states at 1,600.
It's double.
So it doesn't matter what that 2,900, 6,000, 8,000 doesn't matter. It's over the ESA.
Well, and the ESA was actually 12 to 14.
Right.
Yeah.
And the DNR had added that buffer to be at 1,600. So if you go to let's say 1,200, right?
Yeah.
We are well over double.
Exactly. Right. So it doesn't matter what the number is, you know, because we're over the number.
Right.
It should be taken off the ESA.
Yeah. Well, and that's
Plain
the other
simple.
thing that this bill. I think I just broke your chair. That's the other thing that this bill does is not only would these bills establish a wolf hunt, but they also would allow us, because current law in the state of Minnesota is if a wolf is threatening your livestock or your pet, you can take that wolf.
That is the Minnesota law.
That is the Minnesota law, but that's trumped by the federal law.
Right.
So if we get them delisted federally,
right,
now we can deal with those
problem wolves.
Yeah, exactly. Those
and not worry about going to federal prison.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so you can deal with all of that side of the issue
immediately
upon delisting, and then also have the wolf hunt on top of it.
Right.
So if you want to talk about protecting our livestock producers, protecting your pets, this is the way to get it done. So if anyone is telling you not to support these bills, they don't actually have your true interests as a livestock producer, as a pet owner.
Yeah,
they don't have them.
No, because they'd be telling you that. Like if this bill passes, well, honestly, this bill doesn't even have to pass for that. Federally, they have to be delisted, which everybody agrees there's a good chance
today. You can
protect your pets, which you know that's a lot of the arguing points. So as soon as they're federally delisted, which looking good, you can protect your animals, your livestock, your pets.
Yep.
So
and then this would just add a harvest quota on top of that.
So I mean,
we can only hope that'll happen.
I'd be surprised if it didn't, but
I guess I haven't even. Have you been following the federal level or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stopper hasn't really posted a whole lot recently.
Not a whole lot, no. But so the what used to be called the Trust the Science Act, was rebranded this year for the to be called the Pet and Livestock Protection Act.
Yep.
And that is gaining traction. And I think with our current administration, it's gonna pass. The best thing about that legislation is it does have the language in there that prohibits future judicial review.
That's right.
Every time we've gotten them delisted in the past, it's been taken up by some court that doesn't even have to deal with wolves, and they overturn the decision and they're back on the endangered species list.
Exactly.
So if this law, the Pet and Livestock Protection Act, if it passes, it's a great thing for everyone that has wolves in their state.
Right.
God, I swear we've talked about this a time.
Oh, we have.
Ago.
But I think it's good to reiterate it that, before any of this stuff happens in Minnesota, I mean, you will be able to protect your pet and your livestock
Immediately.
upon delisting.
Yep.
So when other people are saying, we don't want you to be able to, MDHA doesn't want you to be able to protect your pets and livestock, it's just not true.
Right.
Because that's going to happen regardless. That's Minnesota law.
Correct.
So don't believe any of that. So then it leads you down to, okay, so what is the problem really?
With the bills?
No, with, who's? The who's.
I don't even know what their problem is.
I mean, I know.
Well, we can speculate.
I don't need to speculate. I can
That's
tell you
true.
exactly what the problem is.
Well, why don't you enlighten us?
I can't see it. I don't have my beep button. Dean, you know which one is a beep button?
Is that
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just test it once.
All right. You want me to test it?
Test it.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see if you can catch me.
All right.
They're full of shit.
That was close. You kind of drug it out.
I did.
You
I
drug
might
it
have
out
did
on
that. I might have
purpose.
broken up on you.
No, but kind of your point, and like we've said before, let me start a group to just hate on another group. Does that make any sense to anybody?
That makes
Well,
no
what
sense.
drives me crazy is it's hunters
Right.
against hunters.
If I was going to start a group, I would do better.
If
than
I was
the previous
PETA
group.
and I wanted to push back against hunting, that's exactly the group I'd start.
Ooh.
I mean, I look back through a lot of those old MDHA magazines, and they're always talking about PETA and those other groups.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear much about PETA anymore up here. And it's like, okay, did they change how they do things?
Yeah, they're called.
Did they create their own hunting groups now?
Yeah, they're called Hunters for Hunters now.
Right. It makes you wonder,
Yeah,
because
well,
that would be a great way to do it.
I believe it.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think everybody should. I mean, it's the truth.
But I do agree that the end result is the same.
Right.
Right. I mean, we don't want to have a divided hunting conservation community. And if you look at any legitimate conservation organization that operates in the state of Minnesota, we all communicate routinely.
Right.
We have a great partnership with every single organization.
Exactly.
We all benefit off of each other's work. We collaborate together to get more accomplished. And then there's this one that is just the antithesis of that.
Right.
It's here entirely. It seems like their entire mission is to bring MDHA down.
Right.
Good luck.
And I don't, for the life of me, I cannot understand why that would be the motivation of any organization.
I can't.
I mean,
Right.
can you complain that MDHA has been a little slow to respond to certain issues? Honestly, I don't think you can.
You can. I mean, maybe on Facebook.
On Facebook, yes.
Right.
I mean, but
Oh,
really,
come on. Social media, that's where we all get our news.
Well, that's where everything happens, right? That's how you get things done.
Right.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's the thing is that is the one area where a critique of MDHA is justified.
Right.
Is we have not done a good job of telling the public what we're working on.
Telling our
You know?
story. Good
Yep.
enough.
And that was entirely why we created a new position,
Right.
to tell that story, to get our social media presence up to where the youths would like to see it.
Right. And to push back on some of the false information that was happening. I mean,
Right.
you have to eventually push back on some of it.
Right. But we have been working on the wolf issue, the Second Amendment continuous issue,
Right.
really every issue that it affects hunters and conservationists. We've been there since 1980.
Absolutely.
And we have not told everyone about the work that we're doing because we were a little slow to get on the social media bandwagon.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we weren't there, So to have this new group that comes in this new era where social media is truth.
Absolutely. You say it on there. It's got to be true.
Right. So to have them come in this late in the game and start spreading this false message for the masses to hear,
Right.
and people believe it is a little frustrating,
Right.
Because we've been working on it since the start. I've only been here since January of 2023, and I think we've made great strides in that arena since then.
Oh,
and now we get all this criticism that, MDHA is only jumping on this issue now.
Right.
And it's like, no, we've been working on this issue. We are just jumping on what are we in, the 29th century at this point?
Right.
21st century. We're just jumping on the technology of today.
Right.
You finally hired someone, MDHA board of directors, that's under the age of 9,000
to be able to handle it.
Right.
So
that actually knows what it is.
So, we're rethinking how we spread our message, and it's making an impact.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we weren't doing the same work before.
Right. You were just writing in a notebook.
Yeah. Writing it in our diary.
Well, the thing is before, all the members knew what was going on.
Correct.
Because of the local chapters, the Whitetails magazine, all the internal communications that MDHA did. MDHA just didn't have the external as well as what they do now. So, but now that they're out there, but again, it doesn't matter. Why keep attacking? Who cares?
Right. Especially when you come out and you say you want to do this or that or the thing, and you seem to be only working towards one thing that has really nothing to do with that.
And I hate to tell you, MDHA ain't going nowhere.
No.
And you think the membership has died, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's a bunch of BS, because guess what? Our membership is just as strong as it ever was.
Right.
I just had
our banquets are doing extremely well. So
best in 5 years, the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was well above our best in 5 years. But I just had our membership coordinator, Heidi, brought our membership report into my office. It's Monday, so it must have been Friday. And it's, it shows the trend, and it's a nice bar graph, and we are on the up and up. We're well above pre-COVID numbers and continuing to grow.
Right.
Exactly.
And a lot of that is because of the marketing and
that's why you do it,
and the storytelling.
Yeah, but this Facebook comment here says that it's the other way around, man. This guy must know.
Oh, he does.
What if he's even a member?
He's got the insight, right?
What comment is that?
Well, I don't have any in particular, but there's several of them on this one. They'll say that.
Let's see.
The best one was something about your thing of the past.
MDHA is a thing of the past.
Thing of the past, yeah. You had your moment.
You had it.
Yeah, well.
I can have many moments. I have a moment every day about.
Get that pink button ready.
Okay, are you ready?
Thing of the past. Here we are, mother.
He's not very good at that.
It's with my left hand. I'm right-handed.
We got a podcast.
I'm right-handed. I'm sorry.
We're a thing of the future.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Why do you wait until half of your members left and the heat is on you before you show up? That you're lobbying for what hunters want. Okay, dude.
What?
Why not listen to them when they start voicing concerns, which was years ago? It's like, okay, buddy.
He knows, though. I'm sure he's done his research. I'm sure.
He knows that we lost half of our membership, and he knows that, now all of a sudden we show up. Guess what? I've always been here.
Right.
And again, we weren't as vocal about it, but we are now, and I think I saw a comment about how we didn't start getting vocal until Hunters for Hunters came around. Right. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I cannot speak to the executive directors before me, but I started January of 2023, just for the fourth time.
Right.
I'm going to make that clear. And we've been talking about the wolf issue and CWD and every other issue since the moment I started. And that is all on the record. There's articles, there's videos, there's everything out there to prove that, if you're willing to look at it and listen. And I don't know what else I can say about that other than, if you're not willing to look at the evidence, you don't have any justification in commenting. I mean,
Right.
like it's all out there, and it's verifiable, and it's well before Hunters for Hunters existed. I mean, you look at the 2012 to 2014 wolf seasons that we had.
Right.
We made that. We helped to make that happen. I don't want to take full credit. You know, there's a whole group of organizations that were involved in that, but we've been here from the start on this issue. And like you said, Dean, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
Right. When this guy, he made a comment about, groups fighting, blah, blah, blah. They just need to get together and talk and this and that. But then, But then he goes into comment, there's things I like about MDHA and some things I don't. Yep. That's going to happen.
That's pretty standard.
Same thing about Hunters for Hunters. There's things I like about them. There's things I don't. Okay. What I like about both is they both are fighting to delist the wolf and fighting for a hunt. Yep. Minnesota must stand together to win this battle. You couldn't be anything further from the truth or closer. Yeah. We do need to stand together. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so he goes on to say that. But then in the next, it just, kind of loses his train of thought because arguing with other people. But it's like, yes, we all have our strengths. And we all have things that people really like and things that people don't like. Right. But it doesn't matter. We're all fighting for the greater good. So, yes, we shouldn't be fighting against each other at all because back to PETA. That's what they want.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, come on. Let's just get over it. And, social media is horrible. Yeah,
it really is.
Well, and, I mean, there's a lot to digest from that comment.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that I would like to address is this whole, I mean, there's kind of this implication of corruption at the top of MDHA. I might be remembering another post here as well, but I have zero say in what MDHA stands for. I don't get to vote on anything. Right. That's our members. That's our chapters. They set our legislative agenda. They set our policies. And then it's my job to advocate for them. Right. So there is no corruption at the top. There is no not representing hunters of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because we represent the hunters who have invested the time and the energy and the $35 a year to be able to voice their opinions and voice their concerns, right? If you're not a member of MDHA, we will do our best to represent you, but we don't know where you stand. Your vote doesn't count if you don't cast a vote.
Right.
And I'm losing my train of thought here now.
That's okay. We were basically responding to Dean's conversation there.
But you're right, because there were a few comments. You didn't ask hunters. You didn't ask this. Where do you guys stand on these criteria? Crossbow, CWD, this and that. It's like his main point was you didn't ask the real hunters of Minnesota. So you're only your private group. Okay. Who's the real hunters of Minnesota for one? And of course we're going to side with our private group membership, which we have.
Otherwise, we don't know how you think.
Right.
We don't know where you stand on any given issue.
Yep.
And I think if you were to look back on the history of hunting and hunter education and hunter safety and hunters' rights in the state of Minnesota, MDHA has been on the right side of that history all throughout.
Every time.
I love this other one. Your group have lost its way, and it starts with Jared. Jared. It's like, man. Obviously he only great. I'm glad he's on our website or on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's funny. Obviously he only listens to one side.
Right.
Well, and that hurts me to hear.
Right.
He only listens to one side. And I'm going to call you out on saying that, but you're right. And it's unfortunate that you're right.
Yeah.
Because in theory, we're both on the same side. We both want what's best for the hunters of Minnesota. We both want a sustainable wolf hunt. at least MDHA wants a sustainable wolf.
Right,
I hear a lot on the other side that goes a little too far, but yeah, I mean, we are on the same side of this issue, and it sucks that we have to continually stay up till 2 a.m. to record a video or record a podcast or write an article
over the most ridiculous stuff.
Right. To defend our organization when in the end we're fighting for the same thing here.
Yep.
You know?
And the thing is we'll honestly, we'll go about it our way. Mm-hmm. You go about it your way. They'll go about it their way. And everybody use their own resources to get the end game, which is the wolf delisted and the wolf season in Minnesota.
Right.
Simple as that.
That's right.
Every organization should use their powers to be to get what they need done and come together in the end for the greater good of Minnesota. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
Well, I think it comes down to honesty in an organization, though, because if your organization says one thing and does another, that comes down to honesty. So maybe the goals that, say on their website don't actually equate to what their leadership is doing.
I just don't see any other organization attacking any other organization.
I don't either.
No.
There's one.
Right. By the way, Pheasants Forever, get the pink button ready. Pheasants Forever.
Slow.
You.
No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
We're coming for you. We want your job.
No, I mean, it's such a great community to be a part of. The conservation world is small, but it's huge. And the impact that we have when we work together is inspiring,
Yeah.
And again, for the life of me, I cannot understand why there's a group calling themselves a conservation organization.
Yeah, I don't know.
That everything they put out seems to be to shame another organization.
Right. And I think one thing that people need to remember is that us hunters, we are a minority in the state.
Oh,
I know people don't think that up here in northern Minnesota because we're probably the majority up here. Mm-hmm. But in the entirety of the state, we are the minority. And that's why it's so important that we stick together and work together.
Yep.
Because we're starting at a disadvantage already.
Right.
And then when we separate each other, we're just multiplying that problem.
Yeah, exactly. Sportsmen's Alliance did a good, what do they got here? 4 hours ago, they posted on their Facebook page about, federal protection, the Great Lakes wolves have dropped as a role under the Endangered Species Act. So they're really fighting for it too. I mean, all these groups are.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've had pretty good talks with Sportsmen's Alliance.
We have.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of these days everything will even itself out. We'll be able to get us something good. Something good will come out of it.
It always does, and all you can do is do your best. And we've been doing that since 1980.
Yeah.
Right. So despite what any one individual or one organization wants to say about us, we're here, we're fighting. We're not going to stop.
Exactly. MDHA ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
Right. I don't know. All right. So we're back from a little bit of break. And while we were on that break, we saw a video that stated that we've been right all along.
Right.
We saw a video that stated there will be a wolf season.
This fall, not 9 years from now.
Right. Mm-hmm. There will be a wolf season, which is great, but it's not good enough.
Right.
There'll be a wolf season brought to you by the Democrats.
Oh,
but it's not good enough.
Word.
Right.
It's a bad word.
It's never going to be good enough.
But yet, in the same video, we need bipartisan support
right.
for the wolf season. That won't be good enough.
Right.
They'll get you the wolf season, but
that's not going to happen until 9 years from now.
So more or less what he's stating is we're getting a wolf season, but they don't back it because it's not good enough.
Right. Boy, those goalposts are fast.
God,
They move.
They keep moving.
Right. Okay, we're getting a wolf season, but it's not good enough.
I want to play.
Even though I don't know any details about it yet.
Battleship with this guy because I guarantee you can never win because he keeps moving my damn battleship.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Jared, he specifically mentioned you.
Oh, he did. Yes.
Do you have gun safety certificate or something? Is that what he said?
No, I think he did. He did say that you don't have a gun safety.
You're an instructor, aren't you?
I am a firearm safety instructor.
Right.
You've never killed a deer.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But he says you haven't.
Right.
Yeah, but he doesn't know me.
Right. Yeah, and you don't.
I have never.
And you're a wolf lover.
I have never killed a deer on his farm.
Right, because who could afford that at 12 grand?
I mean, you haven't paid for a high fence hunt?
Because
No way.
farmers, they charge 12 grand for access to their farms.
For their
High
corn.
fence hunts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
It's just,
that was quite an amusing break.
it was
say
interesting.
the
That
least.
video was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
I think it contradicted itself at least 5 times.
Yeah. I heard
Right.
it from somebody
Right.
that heard it from somebody that somebody talked to Walls.
Yeah.
That now somebody is going to have a wolf hunt and it's not going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Let me say that again.
Yeah, it's what we wanted, but we don't want it.
No, I mean, I love your comment about moving the goalpost. Right.
Right.
I think Blair Walsh probably has the same argument, but any Viking fans, you know,
Right. No, I got you. I got you there. Another thing I want to say, he did mention something about Hochschild, right?
he did.
Putting in a bill, but didn't he already do that?
He did a couple weeks ago.
He already put in his bill.
Yeah, the same bill as last year.
Right. So it's nothing new.
Nope. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, we just watched this 30 seconds ago.
Right.
It was posted 53 minutes ago. And
Right.
he's trying to come across as like this soothsayer, you know, like this fortune teller.
Right.
And it's like, you are literally talking about things that are already in place
Right.
that people don't know about because, well, I shouldn't say people don't know about. I should say the people that watch you don't know about.
Right.
Because you haven't told them about it yet, and they're going to think it's news. But this is not news. You know, Hochschild has submitted this bill. This is, at least as far as I'm aware, the second year.
Right.
Identical bill. And yeah, to your point when you were bringing us back in here, they have been adamant that this wolf plan will prohibit a wolf hunt until we get to 3,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And now he's saying, we're going to have a wolf hunt this fall, but, you know, it's not the wolf hunt that we wanted because there's a Democrat that signed on to it.
Right, but
We need the
bipartisan
Democrats to sign on to it, but I don't like it. Yep. It's like, dude,
Right.
take your toys, go home. This is what we want. We want a wolf hunt. And I too, I'm going to agree with Steve here. I want a wolf hunt this fall.
Right.
I'm not that optimistic that it's going to happen this fall.
Right.
Because I think delisting, I'm not going to pretend to know everything, but I would expect that delisting will happen in like September, you know, because that's how politicians tend to work. They give you what you want when you want it. Mm-hmm. But Minnesota does have a state statute that requires a 90-day waiting period or public comment period.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be delisted at the very end of deer hunting season, in which case we're not going to have a hunt in the fall.
Right. But I like that Steve is so optimistic that we will have a hunt, even though in the video that they released with Mr. Dale Irish, the math that they came up with was 9 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
9 years
9
turned
years
into
from
this
now.
fall, like within a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how things
what
change.
one little video can do.
Right.
But again, you know, he's, well, Walls is only doing it so that way you can get your votes.
Who cares?
Okay. Again,
That's why you vote.
Right.
That's why you vote.
That-
You
he's
tell your politicians where they should stand.
And guess what?
Right.
He's a politician, so he's going to get those. He's getting those votes
Right.
if he gets us a wolf
And you
season.
don't, just because he gives you votes,
Sorry.
it doesn't mean you have to vote for him.
No, exactly.
I mean, if you don't like the guy, don't vote for him. If you do, vote for him, whatever.
And if you
But
honestly
the whole
think-
point is getting a wolf season.
Right.
If you don't want a wolf season, then just say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't say it's not good enough. You're getting what all hunters want as a wolf
Well,
season.
let's not say all hunters,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you know, the people that are listening to this and well, most hunters
Should be all hunters.
Right.
I mean, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
right.
you only got like 4 members. according to this Facebook post.
Right,
We do.
exactly. We're just
Yeah.
MG members, and 90% of them are kids.
Right. What was the number that we just?
they
I think it was.
said,
I think it was down to
down to
5,000.
Down to
5,000.
5,000 and like 1,500 being 10-year-olds.
That's crazy. That though.
They
Wow.
must be just describing our ISANTI chapter.
Maybe.
Pretty much.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. So
It
it's
does.
one chapter they're talking about.
I think so.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
so. But no, I mean it's ridiculous. Like I think we should just end it here.
It is. I think
There
we
is
can all agree
nothing
that
else that we can
what was
say.
the whole video?
There's not going to be anything intelligent coming out of here before too long.
Well,
I would say on the scale of intelligence that we just witnessed,
Oh, true.
what we would spew would probably be a little bit higher.
yeah.
Maybe not a lot, but a little bit.
I'll give you that. All right. Not that we're not intelligent. It's just we're gonna go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And we ain't gonna come out of it.
No, we don't want to go there.
So
I'm just happy that he's finally admitting there's a wolf season coming down the road. Not 9 years.
you heard it first, folks.
Right.
That's right.
Oh,
And it's
man.
all my fault.
It is.
I'm sorry.
You've
You're
never.
you're the reason why we're not going to get the wolf season that we want.
Right.
We're going to get a wolf season.
We're going to get wolf season, but it's not going to be a good enough wolf
Right.
season.
It's not going to be good enough.
Right.
Right.
Well,
And what does it matter? You don't have a gun anyway.
Yeah. How dare you? You don't hunt. I don't even know why you're in this. You're not even a deer hunter.
Yeah. And I know there's a man bun underneath that hat.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, you're left-handed, but you're not left-handed. I don't get it. Somebody knows you who don't know you.
Right. So,
Yep.
yes.
We're done. Hit that like. Share it.
Follow. Whatever else you can do, send us some money. I don't care.
Exactly. Later.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or missions of our sponsors.
The views expressed by Jimmy and Dino and podcast guests are solely their own and do not represent the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Report.